out here in Kauai and on vacation, but decided to hit up a car meet. So thank you for hitting me up. These dudes noticed that I'm on the island, so they invited me out to their little meet, and cool little variety of cars. Got a NA Miata that's turbocharged, some more JDM stuff, some front wheel drive Civics, and Corey's got a JZX, so that thing's pretty rad. Is this the only JZX on the island?
Actually, there's two. This is probably the second one on the island. So
this thing is super clean, actually, really clean. And it came from Maui, you said, right?
From Maui, yep.
Yeah. So freaking nice.
Straight pipe titanium, very loud.
Nice.
How we like it.
Loud and how you like
Yeah,
it.
super loud.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing's dope, man. Some other variety of cars. We had some hot rods over here earlier. They took off, but into the night, just got some imports left. And then, well, you guys hit up a little night market street, or what do you call it, on the Rice Street?
Yeah, Rice Street Market.
Rice
Some
Street.
grub over there, and
Sweet.
yeah.
Cool. We're gonna go get some grub after hanging out with some cool cars. It's a pretty sweet poster. That's awesome. Well, it is absolutely freaking beautiful out here. Definitely needed a little bit of time, a little break from working on the BRZ, and yeah, I hope the boys are getting everything done at the shop by themselves. It's pretty straightforward, but a ton of work prepping the chassis and getting it painted. Not bad out here. Just got done surfing and probably gonna go back in the water. It's freaking amazing. I wonder how the heck the dudes are doing at the shop. Hopefully they're hammering down on that paint job. I'm gonna go ahead and give Nate a call and see what's going on. Huh, not picking up. Well, hopefully they're getting it done. They're not picking up the phone. Guess I'll have a beer and give them a call a little bit later. We got another busy day. We got Tanner in the house, Nate as well, cleaning up, and things are coming together really quick. I just got back from vacation and the car is looking absolutely great. It's been painted, and I was in such a hurry to start putting parts on that there's already some stuff on it. And Nate put on the suspension. I dropped in one of our motors that may or may not live in here. We'll tell you about that later. We got Tanner in here because the rear radiator that we mocked it up without the Durality brushless fan pack, which is this. It sticks out quite a bit. We thought it should be okay, but it's not. So I had to notch right there for this to clear the Jerry Yang subframe that we have installed here. But obviously after cutting the shroud out like that, we're gonna have to fill that back in, and that's where Tanner comes in. So we got Tigmaster 9000. We'll create a aluminum little plate and fill that notch and make it look like Durality made that like that out of the box. So here we go. So pull the sucker out. See the hole? We're gonna fill that sucker up.
Oh boy. Okay.
This is the piece that I cut out.
Oh, okay, mellow.
The only thing is we can't butt it up here because there's so much space. It's got to go in, and then you just do rectangles for the sides. Cool. You want to clean that up, set it in, tack it in, and then work on the squares or rectangles. All right, so here's what it's looking like. I'm gonna throw some more weld on it. Might run silicone along the edges because I don't feel like welding this aluminum all the way around. It might actually start warping it, so you gotta be smart here. Oh, you're not as graceful as I am.
Dude, my fingers were going.
Black hardware for all black car.
Yeah.
One wow. Ooh. Got a new GSR from G-Force. It's going in there. We got the motor in here now. Might not be in there permanently. So we're gonna put the transmission butt up to the motor so we can start mocking up plumbing and running wiring and all kinds of stuff. So we got our fresh GSR gearbox. Oh, this thing is absolutely beautiful. Nate's prepping for it, trying to attach everything and get a weight on this car. Really curious what it'll weigh. So we're gonna hopefully get to do that today. It's not symmetrical, so you gotta know which way it goes. And when you're doing this in a hurry, you don't wanna check it. You just wanna look and see. So that faces back. All right, so this is ready to go back in, and we're gonna use these bolts to attach the cross member to the chassis, and that's because these are the same as what attaches the bell housing to the motor. So zap this out and the bell housing using the same socket. So jam through the list because we're trying to get a lot of components in the car, and majority of the components that we're putting in, treat them like they're going in for good. So make sure that they're tight, make sure that the hardware that you use is long enough or short enough, and if it's not, write it down and we'll address it. But write it down because otherwise we won't know. Got it in there already?
I think so.
Wow. Some strong nails, dude.
Got the thumb of strength.
So we've been slamming away on the BRZ, putting parts back on it, parts that need to permanently go back in the car, like steering column, pedals, transmission, suspension pieces, quick change differential. But I'm kind of impatient to wait until we put everything on the car to get a total weight, because from this point in the build till the end, I really have to tailor the car to either be heavy and run a 295 tire or lightweight and run the small tire. So I'm trying to wrap my head around how much is the total weight gonna end up being, because if I know where we're at roughly, I could tailor the build to either be the lightweight car or the heavyweight car from this point forward. We'll know right now, because we just shoved all the stuff in the car temporarily, roughly where we're at. So we'll know, should we try to keep this thing lightweight, or maybe we're already over that point where there's no point in trying to make this thing lightweight. There's a certain point where it's just too much effort to build a lightweight car. I think we got most of the stuff that needs to be in this thing. We got jugs of fluid to simulate how much oil is gonna be in it. We have engine parts in here, starter, rotors, you name it. And it's insane what it looks like. It is absolutely ridiculous how much stuff goes on the car when you just throw it into the interior like this. Hard to believe how this stuff makes its way onto the car and actually looks tidy. We're literally waiting for Amy to get back from Feal with some loaner shocks to throw on this thing. But as soon as we put some shocks on it, we could go ahead and put the hub stands to use and get a total weight. I'm so excited because this is kind of gonna tell us where to go from here on the build. Build it light or build it heavy. The first time putting a shock in this car, and they're not even my shocks. results are in. We have it on scales. We have all the junk in the car, and we ended up putting even more junk in it because we're like, well, exhaust, well, the Y pipe for the exhaust. Like, we just added more and more stuff as we were doing this because the car came in really lightweight. I kind of told myself, if it is around 2,500 pounds without me in it, maybe I need to consider building it a lightweight car, keeping it under 2,750 with me in it. And it's pretty much there. Like, this right now weighs 2,500 pounds and some change. There's a lot to think about here. This is like, but I'm glad I'm doing this now at this point of the build before I keep adding parts to it, because now I could pick and choose. Do I pick the very lightweight parts that are a little more expensive? Or do we purposely go a little bit heavier? Because right now we're at a crossroads. If we want the car to run a 295 tire, we have to purposefully add heavy parts. But we're so close. We're actually not that we're so close. We're there. The car is light enough to run a small tire. There's just a little bit of ambiguity of how many other little parts that we forgot about are going to bump up the total weight of the car. A lot to think about. I'm going to sleep on this probably several nights, and but it's exciting. This is a super exciting part of the build, and it's exciting to do it this way and pick and choose which way we want to go from here. So this rod for the master cylinder is the default length, the way it comes from Willwood. I had a suspicion it might be a little too long, and it is. If I run it the default length, the clutch pedal is up way too high. You can tell this is a brake pedal and it's higher. So if we cut the rod down about 1/4 inch, it becomes level with the brake pedal, which is way more predictable as a driver. Your feet are not hunting for a different height. So we're gonna take a little more than 1/4 inch, so that way we have wiggle room to adjust up and down on the pedal itself. Got some freshies. So we temporarily borrowed some suspension that is due for an upgrade from Subimods. That's what's on there now. They're just Feal 4x1s that work great. Subimods ran them at Grid Life events, but we got stuff that we've been working on that we're gonna be installing on the car, and I cannot wait to show you what we got. We've been working hard at Feal Suspension on a very solid suspension package for this chassis. We've had really good success running suspension that we built in these chassis in professional drifting, in Drift Masters, RDS. I'm very happy to have the chassis for myself, because when I have it here and I have the YSFAB components here and I cycle the suspension through its full sweep, I could find little areas of improvement. The boys at Feal have been working hard. I've been running in and out with measurements from the chassis back to Feal. The spherical bearing is something new from us for this specific chassis in the lower mount. We're using a very stubby and very specific lower mount that's actually milled out to have as much interior room as possible for the cartridge to drop as low as possible. We're basically eliminating a bulky lower mount, so that way we could run the longest shock body and shock shaft combination possible. I did the math. It should yield more wheel travel than my S14 and S15 from the fact that there's some motion ratio built into the rear suspension. I really can't wait to put these things on the car and start cycling the suspension and checking the toe gain, setting all that up, setting the ride height, the bump stop engagement, all the fun stuff that takes a lot of time and effort, but once we get it right, we apply all those changes into coilover kits that you can purchase yourself. These have a ton of dyno time at Feal Suspension, a ton of R&D that went into it, and it's just a finer, refined version of a kit that was already really, really good for this chassis. These actually feature our newer gunmetal colored collars, which I'm really stoked on, and obviously our new titanium finished shock body that's super durable, scratch resistant and corrosion resistant, and super stoked on these. Cannot wait to put them on. Some snakeskin was inside of that bin. It's absolutely disgusting. So in this episode, we got pretty far. We got the chassis painted and we started putting everything back in. That's a really exciting part. But I got a little anxious before we started bolting everything in diligently. I knew that this was a time to kind of get an estimate of how much this car is actually gonna weigh. And that really dictates how we're gonna proceed with the build. There's a minimum weight to run every single tire size, I could either keep running the 295 GT radial, which is tried and true, or I could try to make this thing very light and go down in tire size. But you don't want a heavy car on a small tire, obviously. And you can't run the big tire by building a very lightweight car. So we threw a bunch of stuff in the car. We tried to get as much weight in as possible to see what the estimated total weight would be. And we kind of landed where it could go either or, which put me in a predicament where I could build it either way. But realistically, it's looking like the 295 tire is going to be the right tire for this chassis, unless I completely start redesigning some things and really trying to skimp out on weight, which for the timeline of this build being done, I think that's not the best idea. Maybe in the future, I could dismantle the car as we service it in the off season and really try to change out some of the components for very lightweight components, which gets kind of costly and it takes a lot of effort. We got tons of work left. We got to plumb it, wire it, and keep putting cool parts back in it. The plumbing, the wiring, all of that takes so much thought, and the way it's executed makes a big difference in how serviceable the car is. We're gonna keep the cameras rolling, so make sure to tune in, subscribe. Don't miss the next episode when we start plumbing this thing and getting even further ahead, getting closer to getting this thing fired up.